Assalamu alaikum, everyone. First episode of Dogana Diaries. This is a new series called Dogana Diaries. It's a digital platform to connect with Dawites who have contributed mostly to Dao and especially to Dogana. First, my introduction. I'm Dr. Samrina Hanif. I'm a neurologist and an epilepsy program director here at Marshall University in West Virginia. I'm Dawite class of 1998 and currently serving as co-chair of Dogana Communications and Publication Committee for 2026. I have with me our esteemed guest, Dr. Rizwan Karatella. He's our first guest for Dogana series, Dogana Diaries, and I'll do his introduction, and then after that, we'll have him talk a little bit about himself. So Mr. Dr. Rizwan Karatella attended Dow University from 1977 to 1984. He's Dow grad class 1984. He came to the United States and did his cardiology fellowship at Emory University and University of Rochester. He is practicing cardiology in West Palm Beach, Florida, and obviously is a lifelong Dogana member, but more importantly, he is one of the founders and one of the key persons involved in the establishment of Dogana, which is the whole purpose of Dogana series, to try and get all the founding members to come in and tell us about their vision. So I'll hand over the mic to Dr. Karatella. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself.
Hi, thank you very much for inviting me for such a innovative programming that you're doing. And I think it is just by looking at these things, I'm very happy to see that Dogana is also taking new steps to align with the current technology as well as social media. And the whole purpose of that, I'm sure, right from the beginning, is to see how we can all connect Dogana across the world, not only in the United States, but also in Karachi, in North Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, which has been very important in the last several years that has happened. So that's good. Yeah, the one correction, I'm not the founding member of Dogana because my esteemed seniors would be named as the founding members of Dogana. One of them would be Dr. Iltafat Alavi, then Dr. Sultan Ahmed, Salim Chaudhry 1968, Sultan Ahmed 1963, Dr. Alafat Alavi 1959, Dr. Tariq Zafar 1972, Anayatullah Khan, and many others. In 1979, they decided to form a committee to just explore the possibility of uniting Dawite that are just come to United States. Going back, if you look at the Dow Graduate Association, which is basically the concept of Dow Medical College Alumni Association. So it had to be after the Dow graduate starts coming from the Dow Medical College as a first class and then second class. And then I think in 1953 was the first time that the document that I shared with you all was only surviving document that we can say the Dow Graduate Association concept was thought of with a 10 ad hoc member of the committee to decide to form a Dow Graduate Association in 1953. And that Dow Graduate Association was formed in Karachi, and they used to have an annual meeting. And I will share some of the earlier publication. They have the Foundation Day of Dow Graduate Association. They used to form actually they used to publish their magazine. So that would the beginning, and then afterwards, like 10 years later in 1979, and then later on, we have Dogana. So that is the initial part of Dogana that I would like to first explain. And as far as I'm concerned, yes, I was the president of Dogana in 2000 and 2001. And after that, I was the executive director of Dogana. And Well, I can keep on going, but I think you should
No, I want to ask
stop
more
and yeah,
about that
yeah.
time period as well. You were president in, I believe, Dogana 2001. So, what were your positive aspects, and how was it different then versus now?
Okay. Yeah. So before I became involved in Dogana, I had been, I'll go back because my residency years, when you are in residency, you are not as much connected in alumni activities because you don't have time. And that was the thing which it was my excuse, but I think a person can be really involved in Dogana while you are doing the residency or fellowship. But in late 80s, when the Dogana was having annual meetings, and then the attendance would be somewhere between 50, 55, 60 alumni in total. And then Dr. Alafat and Dr. Mushtaq Ahmed, they were very much involved in organizing the annual meeting along with Apna in late 80s and then 90s. I got involved, and then the only thing I can say that the contribution from me was that I was at Emory University doing a fellowship, and at that time there was no internet, and the first time the World Wide Web came in 1990s. And it just so happened that I was working in a research fellow and computer access, and then first time the World Wide Web and Netscape web browser came. And I somehow decided to make a Dow Medical College web page in 1993. That was the first web page for Pakistani institution
That's incredible.
in the internet era, and then I said that, "Oh, how can I make use of it?" So I started sending the messages about people who are involved in academia, like a .edu. They would have some email at that time before even AOL and other email commercially available. So I was able to get about 1,000 alumni email addresses and then make a database of that. That was across the world, like it could be some
That's
New
incredible.
Zealand and England, and that uh, with that, Dr. Iltafat and Dr. Mushtaq said that why don't you just come and then work for Dogana. At that time, I was doing a fellowship, and I thought it'd be a reasonable time to get involved.
Was this the inception of Dow Days? This digital diary that you were creating?
The Dow Days came later with Dr. Amin Karim, and I decided to do that. That was almost about, I would say, 10 years later in 2013, that we decided that we have an independent platform where across the world that whoever wants to share any memorabilia, artifact, magazine. So that's what we have been collecting that.
That's
So
wonderful.
yeah, so before me, I would like to mention Dr. Zilaf Munir. She was the president, and I think at that time, uh, definitely there was a big energy. Like I said before, that Dr. Altafat, Dr. Mushtaq, Salim Chaudhry, they were trying to get the people involved, but the attendance would be 60, 70 at the most, which was very small. And then all of a sudden, we had a very big membership drive, and in a matter of a year went from 60s and 70s to 150 to 200 and 250. And that's what I know. After Zilaf, I became president, and then we were having a good, active people involved who had a background in the politics, background in the hospital administration. So then, obviously, as you know, after that, it really took off, Dogana. And then subsequently, obviously, I after I finished my tenure, Dr. Iltafat Alvi was the first executive director, and he had everything in his house, every possible documents, every membership form. I would just call him about that. And then Dr. Mushtaq Khan, he came second executive director. When I joined, he was the one who was running all the organization, and it was a very untimely death and a blow to Logana that he passed away. pretty early age. And after that, they asked me to become executive director. So it was definitely a challenging time where lots of documents were not available. And then there was a gap that Dr. Mushtaq Ahmed or Dr. Mushtaq Khan had a lot of documents and membership information that it was very difficult for me to put everything together. But finally, we were able to. And that's where the email and then the interaction, and I would say that a real reviving of Dogana, or the first reviving of Dogana, came around that time.
Wonderful. So, Dr. Karatela, we have divided this whole segment with Dogana Diaries into four short segments. I'm going to start off with the first segment. It's called Purani Yad. And the question now is that I'm going to lead towards is, you come from a heritage of Dao alumni. Your dad, your uncle, you yourself, your sister, your younger brother, all of you are proud Daoites. And some are obviously Dogana lifelong members too. So tell us about this legacy and about your family of proud Dao physicians.
Yeah, certainly I would take pride in being a Taoite. I always think the Tao days were my best days of my life, and yeah. So my father joined interestingly, I've been really trying to get or put thing together the history of Tao. The reason is that when the Tao, it was not just one day, December 10th, 1945, after the foundation stone, the Tao became Tao. It was before that, the Tao, the concept of Tao, in 1941, when there was a medical school in Hyderabad that the British formulated, but the concept of college and a degree level came later in 1943. Still, we were affiliated to University of Bombay, where they used to send the inspector to see if we are qualified to be a medical college. Now, first inspection, they approved temporarily, and then later on they say that since there is no anatomy museum, and then you have to have enough artifact or enough specimen or dissection to be qualified as a medical college, that was stationed in the Hyderabad. So then finally they recommended that it has to be transferred to Karachi, and then where in 1945 the Dow Medical College officially transferred to Karachi, and they gave the status of medical college. And then first it was, as you know, I'm sure you must have seen the documents, NJV High School was not far from current Dow Medical College location. The first year was housed there, and then officially in November 1946, where the ground floor of current medical college start functioning, and we start having anatomy and physiology and all that. So my father, I got some more document that he was admitted to Grant Medical College in Bombay.
Mm-hmm.
I have that information, and then I'm assuming that after the partition, he transferred, and then he became the medical student of Dow Medical College. Either it was a transfer or he applied it, but the original ID that I have from him in our house is 1948, when he has ID of Dow Medical College 1948. So
Wonderful.
the papers, and then he kept diary, and I'm many of my old document that I'm sharing with Dawit is his collection of things. In fact, he had a diary of the actual newspaper clipping of final year exam result of his class
That's amazing.
1952. So I will share it later on
Yes,
with
that
the
would be great if you
Johan.
could
Right.
share that with us.
Right. And then if I say one thing, that one of his closest friend was Dr. Khwaja Muin, his
Mhm.
classmate, and they kept in contact with each other for a long period of time. They were very close friends to a point that and then after that they were involved in alumni activities like ad hoc committee and all that, and then became involved in Pakistan Medical Association. So in 1973, when my my father was the vice president of PMA, and Dr. Khwaja Muin was president. And then the next year, unfortunately, my father died in 1973. So that was the 74. That was the time that they were involved in PMA, and Dr. Khwaja Muin knew that I would be aspiring to be a medical college student. And then 2 years later, when I entered, the first thing Dr. Khwaja Muin told me that it is your job to come and see me every few days to see how you're doing. Even though in medicine, but I
Uh-huh.
was in preclinical the first 2 years. He just wanted me to come and see. In other words, like he wanted to be a mentor, which
Yes.
I knew that he was my mentor because he did
Yes.
ask me. And one thing, I went one day very scared that no, I'm going to go to room of Dr. Professor Khwaja Muin. How can I? So I went. I was the first year, and then chaprasi outside. नहीं, आप अंदर नहीं जा सकते. So somehow we heard that this is Rizwan. Rizwan, come inside. And then he just had me, sit in the room. And then he said that, no, look, this is your first year, do this, do that. So it was very gratifying that, like you said, the legacy. So I was
Absolutely.
already, when I admitted, I was already getting the benefit of my father's association in the Dow Medical College. So I felt very at ease. And then in the first day, a little bit in politics, Dr. Sher Shah is graduate of 1980. One day he said that and I did not know at that time. He said that, Dr. Suleiman Karatala, your father, wrote a constitution of Dow Medical College Student Union. And at that time, obviously, my father had passed away. So we did not even talk about it. I was just in 10th grade. So I knew all the information like a heritage that, oh, my father wrote a constitution along with Dr. Asaf Jafri under Dr. Server, who was the vice president at that time. Because the student union at that time was not independent until they formed their own constitution. It was under the administration. The principal was the student union president. So vice
Okay.
president was Dr.
Mhm.
Server. And so then he took me to hostel number 4 and he showed me a copy of constitution. Look, this is the constitution, and the front page was my father's name. So obviously, Dow connection right from the first day was very dear to me. And then, like you said, yes, and Dr. Shersha also has multiple member of his families in Dow, and there are many other who are also first,
Mhm.
second, even third generation Dawite. So why we say this thing? Because Dow is Dow, and then once you are affiliated, you feel so happy that you are a Dawite at any
Absolutely.
stage. And I think that's where you are here. We're talking about is after about 40 years, is because we cannot just shake off the idea of not being Dow.
That's true. The one exam that you shared, that became pretty viral, that 1949, June 1st, physiology, anatomy exam questions that you had shared on the WhatsApp group as well as on Dow Days. My husband, he's a class of 97. He forwarded it to his friends. I forwarded it to my friends, and we were actually having a really, really fun time trying to answer those questions. So, just to break up the mood, I'm going to ask you one of the questions. So, let's go back to Wednesday, June 1st, 1949. It's 10 a.m. and it's your physiology examination. Question number 6. And I'm putting you on the spot right here. What
Okay.
is instinct and what are the mental processes that accompany instinctive actions? Although I know I should be asking you question number 2, which is nutrition of heart muscle, but I thought I'll
Right.
ask you a more vague kind of
Yeah,
conceptual.
what was the question? I didn't catch the whole
So,
question.
what is an instinct? Question number 6, Wednesday, June 1st. Question number 6, what is an instinct and what are the mental processes that accompany instinctive actions? This was
Oh,
your
I see.
dad's exam. Yes.
All right, okay. Well, I must say that in 1949, I would have only one paragraph to say because I would have no idea. But now I can even talk to you for 2 hours on
Oh,
instinct, on a religious
okay.
basis, on a psychological basis, and on obviously personal basis. But you're
Uh-huh.
right, that's a very vague question. It's a mostly psychiatry and um, uh,
But it's
without
thought
going,
provoking.
it
Yes,
is
it's
thought
thought
provoking,
provoking
absolutely.
question. Yes,
And
you
then,
question.
and
Yeah.
right. The only thing I would say that when you ask that question now, fortunately or unfortunately, most of the people will gravitate to religion. They will
Mhm.
try to explain everything on the basis of religion and they will quote the ayat and that's not my my approach. It's more, I'm a student of science and I've always been forward thinking, at least that's what I think. So, instinct, again, you have to look into the human physiology and psychiatric theories to decide about it rather than, oh, yeah, Allah ki taraf se hai. or,
Right.
or something like that. So, I
Uh-huh.
think now, obviously, um, I would say that if you have a good foundation of good training, good thought process, uh, you can guide your instinct because instinct can be good, instinct could be bad. But if you have a good foundation or a grounding of your training, then you can channelize your instinct into very constructive and positive direction. That what I will say to my kids, and open to every possible thought. In other words, entertain. You should be able to entertain the two opposing ideas without following one, and that's
That's beautiful.
that's a philosophical
What a
background.
nice concept.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're always troubled by two thoughts, which can
Right.
sometimes be contrasting, but your
Right.
instinct guides you. That's beautiful. Very nice. So continuing the theme of Purani Yade, tell us about Helen Dow and the granddaughter of Sir Hugh
Oh
Dow.
yeah, yeah. So what happened there, it was really an unexpected email that I got one day in, I think, 2017, that Helen Wagner, uh, she emailed me that she was going through the days.com and then she approached me. She wrote a nice email that I'm a granddaughter of Dow. In other words, Sir Dow had only one son and she was a
Okay.
daughter of that son.
Oh,
So
okay.
she explained that she would love to visit Tao at that time, and she had a granddaughter. Actually, not her. She had a great granddaughter of Tao, meaning that her niece was a medical student in Edinburgh, and she that she'll be finishing, and she would love to visit Tao. So I, obviously responded that first of all, it was very delightful surprise that you emailed me, and then it is so nice to be in contact with Dow, granddaughter of Dow, obviously. So you can tell more about the personal life of Dow. At that particular time, I was actually trying to find any relevant information about Sir Dow. There was nothing except that he was a governor of Sindh. And then at that particular time, I had actually sent an email to Library of British Library in London, and explaining that do you have any information about the early days of Dow, Sir Dow? And there was no answer for 1 month. And all of a sudden, I got a very detailed right from the beginning that where was he born, who was he born to, the address, and then what his public service appointments were after that, and when he came to India and all that. So I got that. But the personal, obviously, information was from Helen Wagner. And the visit, obviously, it's very difficult. She lives in Germany and she's a veterinarian. And then she wanted to bring her niece to someday to Tao. So I said that, there is usually an annual meeting in Tao, and then we should be able to. But somehow it didn't materialize. And then obviously so many years passed by, and all of a sudden, just last year, she emailed me again that how things are, and then at that point, she probably may have more time. So she and I have just so happened that I said that we are really trying to gather some more information, and I'm writing some historical account for 80th anniversary of Dow.
Mhm.
1945 to 2025, and she said I'd be delighted to send some more information. So that's the, I think I just recently shared with you guys, in
Yes,
which
yes.
she had explained about his father and fond memories of Sir Dow visiting their house and all that. So I think it's good. Now, many people will say that, oh well, it's a British name. Well, they were just they were our masters, so we don't have to glorify. It's not a glorification of their.
I
Oh,
understand. Yes.
that's a completely separate thing. Yes, political um, uh, uh, angle for Dow and his administration as a British Empire ruling, it definitely is a total different thing. But since our institution is after him, it's not a bad idea to explore the history. And then if someone gives us more information, why not? So same thing, I never
Right.
have the idea that the foundation day, there's no historical record what happened. So somehow it just so happened that we were able to get the news clip from Library of Congress. That also my son was able to go, Ramesh, and acquire from, actually went in the archives in the Library of Congress in Washington. And then there were two newspaper at that time in 1940s. One was Daily Gazette, and the other was Sindh Observer. And that's where we found actual uh, clipping of December 11th, 1945, the news that the foundation. And then interestingly, the heading says Sindh Medical College was found.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was
Uh-huh.
a one medical college in
Sure.
Sindh, but then in if you go in detail, it says Dow
Uh-huh.
says that
Okay.
it is after me. But interestingly, he was kind enough to say that it should not be named after me because I'm just the governor of Sindh. It should
Right.
be after Dr. Vanvani, who was the driving force to establish the Dow Medical College. So that was a good thing.
We cannot change our past, and we cannot erase history. We don't have to glorify it, but we cannot erase it. We should be knowledgeable about it because that's what shapes us, and that's what makes the future as well. So I was very fascinated by that little tidbit of history, and a lot of us people from our classes just found all of that information very, very fascinating. So
Mm.
changing gears now back again to Dogana. We talked about the inception and memories of it, and who were some of the founding members. What was the actual concept? What was the reason why it was made? What was the main concept that all of you guys had at that time?
Yeah, I think any alumni association concept is first and foremost is to keep our alumni community together so that we can have a common bonding, and even though we have graduated, we should be in touch with our friends. So that's the personal level that everyone would like to really, especially in Dow, it was not just a 1 or 2 years. We spent each other 5 to 7 years together, and in the prime time of our lives, like from 1718 to 2025. So everyone cherishes that moment. So that's one right there, a driving force, that Dow Alumni Association or any alumni association, the concept is that why not? I would like to continue connecting with my colleague that I spent 7 years or 6 years in medical college, 40 years from the graduation or 50 years from the, and that's one thing. The other thing is that since, and we are especially in particularly in context of Dogana, because we are not in Karachi.
Right.
Karachi Dawites, obviously, they're doing a tremendous job. Dr. Adibul Hassan Rizvi to, Bari and so many things. And we can just, say that they're
Mm.
doing a phenomenal job, right? But because they stayed there and they're really giving back to that. Now, we are here since our graduation. Many of them came right away, some came later on. So the second concept was that how can we get together and then give back to Tao? That is the second thing in any form. It could be in a lectures, it could be visiting, it could be funding, and that drives the Dogana activities here. And yeah, so that was the two most important thing. And then later on, now 20 years, 30 years, we are in practicing here, so there are some challenges of practices here. So what would be best forum to share those things which we have, our alumni who are excelling in different their field. They are really masters in their field. So we learn from each other. Like for example, Dr. Rahimtullah,
Mhm.
he's the actually, I would say, one of the top five cardiologists in the world, mm, since our cardiology fellowship that we have known him. That he was a Dow graduate 1954. And
Okay.
when we see him as almost like a grandfather of cardiology in America, that he was the pioneer in hibernating myocardium, the concept of hibernating myocardium, that was his
Mhm.
research. And then
Mhm.
obviously many follows afterward. Our class fellow, Dr. Tasneem Zarazadi, she's
Mhm.
also affiliated in cardiology, she's a professor in the same institution and afterwards. So there are obviously many. I'm just giving you
Right.
one name
Right.
of cardiology. So the Alumni Association, and then Dr. Remtullah, I remember he always very fond of coming to Dogana meetings all the time, as long as he was able to come. So there are many Dawites who are now sharing their achievement here, and then our Dogana community is inspired by these local achievements, but then
Right.
same time the class work always happens, and then we give back to Pakistan.
Um, One next question. So, some poignant memories from a previous Dogana general body meeting. Any general body meeting that you attended, and it was a kind of an interesting discussion from an old one. What are your memories of that?
Yeah, well, there are many memories, but
The
yeah,
most interesting one.
yeah. So there was I would say it was not a general body meeting, but I think it was a very important thing. I think I was president at that time. So we invited Dr. Hoodboy,
Mm-hmm.
Pervez Hoodboy, and the idea was I think it was the first, I would say, Dow forum that we created. I mean, we started, and it clashed with Apna general body meeting or something. And Dr. Rana Akbar, she
Mm-hmm.
was the president, and she was very unhappy that why the Dow are doing. But I think at that point our trajectory was going up because everybody was involved in this thing. And then Dogana Social Forum, what is that? Dow Social Forum. And then we were just
Uh-huh.
trying to, it's not just Halla Gulla, the Saturday night meeting. We always wanted some substantive work. Obviously, Apna was doing it, but we thought that we should have some forums where we talk about nuclear. Um, uh, I think it was about against and for nuclear
Uh-huh.
powers. And Dr. Hoodboy
Interesting.
was our chief
Uh-huh.
guest, and we have
Oh.
promoted it for a long period
Uh-huh.
of time. And then initially she called me, and then she said, "Look, make sure it is not on the same time." And the apna. So
Oh.
somehow I convinced her, "Look, it is happening at 9 o'clock." whether you like, because there's so many things.
Uh-huh.
So then I would like you to come and visit, to
Sure.
attend that forum.
Right.
So obviously she had to cater her, appointments,
Uh-huh.
and her Apna. She was the president of Apna, but she was nice enough to come.
Uh-huh.
And I remember she was sitting in the audience, and then he came for 10, 15 minutes, and then she pointed to me that, I was at the stage with Dr. Hoodba. He said, "Look, you
Uh-huh.
told me I came." In other words, so I kept my promise,
I've
but make
attended.
sure
Yeah.
that work with me. It was, I
What
think
was
it
the
was a good.
consensus of that meeting? I mean, was the majority pro-nuclear or not?
No, 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 against.
They were
Because when
not.
Yeah,
Interesting.
again, yeah, Dr. Hoodboy was saying that this is not a deterrent, right? It is
Uh-huh.
not, it is something we think that it's a deterrent, but he was against the proliferation of nuclear arms and all that. So he spoke, and then most of the people agreed with that it should not be the direction. But it was a fun, it was a very, I would say, very lively, almost it reminded me of Dow days when we used to
That is
have.
so interesting. I think we should have this discussion now in the 21st century in
Absolutely.
2026 because times have changed and it seems as though that's the only thing that has protected our country. Those acquisitions, but that's an interesting debate. Maybe after what is it, 20 years or 25 years, the whole discussion
Yeah,
paradigm has completely shifted. Very
yeah.
nice. So, one last question before we go to rapid fire. What is the one project that you thought during your presidency in 2001 that you would do and you really wanted to do in Dogana, but you were unable to carry through, and you would want, say, the younger generation to now carry forward?
Yeah, I think in those days there were few important concept and ideas, but Dow Endowment Fund, and we thought it was very, very difficult to achieve, but looks like we were able to finally start it. Many people were involved in this one. Dr. Zia Muiz, Nasim Shakhani, Dr. Zafar, 1985, Nadeem Zafar, and many others. Obviously, Dr. Salim Chaudhry, and so it got up to a point, but I felt it was not enough. And then obviously afterwards it was a little bit dormant, but I don't know how it is now. But Dow Endowment Fund was a big concept that eventually, the only thing I say that compared to us, KE, they
Mm-hmm.
have tremendously
Yes.
powerful I mean, the KE endowment fund, to a point that I was just recently talking to Shahzad Khan, who's the KE president, that they are really supporting so many projects because of their powerful endowment, KE endowment fund. So yeah, I think we learned from different alumni association. Just a like a
Mhm.
small
Aside, yeah.
anecdote is that when I first created the website for DAO, which was the only website for the Pakistani institution in those days, when there were only 3-page Yahoo list, there was no Yahoo
Mhm.
company, right?
Right.
So in my introduction of DAO, I wrote the oldest and most prestigious medical college of Pakistan. Obviously, in those days, internet access was not as much, but I think 10 years later, someone from
Uh-huh.
KE said me, "Look, you
Oh,
wrote it, that's fine, but it is not the oldest because KE is
right.
older." So I said,
Yeah.
"You're right." So then I changed the sentence to one of the oldest
Yes. Yeah.
medical college, because obviously in
Uh-huh.
those days, KE and Dow was the only one. So yes, I
So we
think
can at least aim to be the second oldest,
second,
right?
right. And
Absolutely.
the only thing I would, at that time, the other second thing that I was always, and then even after my presidency, when I was an executive director, only thing that was bugging me, not out of negative, but out of competition, that how
Mhm.
come we have more graduates now, but they are
Mhm.
not participating in Apna as compared to KE graduates.
Oh, yes.
But I think in the last 10 years, we surpassed that, which is a very promising thing because at that time, I always, according to the numbers that I used to see, that we have
Mhm.
more alumni here, but they're not becoming APNA members. But this has changed. And I'm sure
I
when
hope that
yeah, yeah,
changes for the future because there's always I think excitement and unity and diversity too. If
right,
Dogana just remains within Dogana and we are not there to interact with the other APNA members, then we become isolated. But always there is more power in unity and diversity also. You get to learn so much from your other medical colleagues. Very
right.
interesting, very interesting. Is there anything that you suggest for at least our Dogana members? What would increase membership?
Yeah, I think the networking is the key. And then looks like you are, the way I'm looking at it, you are going in a very positive, right direction. That obviously, first of all, you are tech savvy, socially connected, and then make use of it more effectively. And the key thing is that you have to update the material uh,
Mhm.
for the alumni. They will not get be remain engaged if there's no real updates. And then if you really look at it, there are so many things we can always do and update. Uh, yeah, the I don't know, the class project of 25th anniversary giving back to Dow is
Mhm. Mhm.
happening, and if it's not, then it should be promoted. Every single year there should be a 25th
Absolutely.
anniversary class, because definitely most of my interaction that they always like to give back to Pakistan, even though they're not really active in Dogana, but they when they come to meeting, that's what they see and they feel good about it. With this internet and then social media, YouTube, and now other things, uh, mm, I think you're going in the right direction. That's what I would say, that continue that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all your advice and your
Mm.
positive vision. And I think you
Mm.
have been a pioneer, at least amongst your generation, especially with social media. I'm really
Mhm.
impressed by
Mhm.
all the web pages that you made so many years ago, 20, 25 years ago, when all of this was new to us. And that's a heritage. And I think all of us, the only list of the graduates that we have is the one that Dr. Amin Kareem made. That
Mhm.
I keep going back to that these were my batchmates,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
now because there's so many, so you get to know all of them through that list.
Right,
That's
that's true.
wonderful. Now we're going to switch over to something more casual and fun. This is the second last session of the thing. We could keep on talking, but we're going to talk about now rapid fire questions. So, Dogana Diaries, rapid fire questions. Questions. I'm going to ask you one word for something, and you can, or one sentence for these little words. So, one word answer or one sentence for Dao.
The most uh, the most memorable period of my life.
Beautiful, beautiful. One word answer or one sentence answer for Dogana.
The most inspiring and gratifying association.
Beautiful. Your most unforgettable Dao spot.
Dow spot. Um, Again, on the steps of Khwaja Muin Auditorium.
Beautiful. Anything you would like to share with us?
About
Were they
Dow
just
or
about that particular spot? Why was it so important?
yeah, so I think it was or you can say the steps of Muin Auditorium or hygiene block. It's the same thing. The concept, the steps. we used to call it baseं jaane ke baad ka mahal. In other words, in those days, as a little bit of political, but also friends, that we used to gather around that area when the buses were going. According in our time, it was 3:30. So all the buses, there were about 11 union buses. They used to go on different points. So we used to gather and sit, and that's where we do the networking, or
Interesting.
or obviously chit chatting, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, there was no text messages and those days, so that was the
Mhm.
only thing, and it was supposed to be for both parties or for political thing. It was Dow Medical College was a lively atmosphere for other than the medicine, which I still cherish tremendously. So
Interesting.
those were, I would say, steps of,
Of
just
Tao.
like there's a classical uh, music about steppies of Central Asia. So I would call it like steps of Khwaja Muin Auditorium.
Beautiful. One teacher you'll never forget.
Oh, that's no doubt. My mentor, Shafiq Qureshi,
Wonderful.
Professor Shafiq
One
Qureshi.
one mentee that you will never forget. Your mentee.
Oh, my mentee. No, I would not consider myself that I was a mentor of any student, but I would say that yes, my juniors, there were many
Beautiful.
in that. Yeah,
Chai or coffee?
chai 10 times.
Okay. All right. Residency or fellowship?
Fellowship,
All right. You were going to say
fellowship.
something about chai. Go ahead.
Chai. Yeah, the reason I say is chai. Our day in Dow started. The first thing we would come to Stack Corner, get a tea, and especially, that's a very nice moment. I should write something about it. I never get to do that. I don't know whether in a sports arena there were bleachers in the behind the girls' common room and behind the snack corner. I don't know. I hope it's still there. So we used to come snack corner, take a cup of tea, very hot. In especially in December months of Karachi, and
Mhm,
the
mhm.
first thing we'll go, the only spot where there was a sun in the morning, like 8 o'clock, was in bleachers, in
Right.
those bleachers. So we used to take a chai. It was obviously cold for us,
Mhm.
obviously, just living in Karachi only, we were cold enough to feel like, and so then we had a cup of tea before even go to lectures, if we go to lectures.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying the chai was, and then it doesn't
Yes.
matter whether it was July or hot
Uh-huh.
chai was and
Right.
samosa, obviously.
Absolutely. I think most of us Karachiites love our chai. We've
Yeah.
been here 25 years, but we still love our chai. Next one, white coats or scrubs?
White coats.
Interesting. लेकिन आप interventional cardiologist हैं, so don't you wear
No, I'm
scrubs?
non-invasive. Non-invasive.
Non-invasive.
Yeah,
Okay,
non-invasive.
interesting. So for me, I wear white coat and I prefer that because मेरे तो आधे instruments मेरे white coat के अंदर होते हैं.
Ah,
I
right, right.
carry
Yeah.
that big bag that other
Tuning
neurologists
fork and
bring. So
yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
it's my hammer, my pocket card, my tuning fork, everything is in my white coat pocket.
Right.
All right. Dow Days or Dogana, your two most passionate kind of creations. Dow Days or Dogana? Compare the two. And
Yeah,
which one
yeah,
do you
yeah. Well, I think it's synonymous, I would say, because obviously, Dow Days is nothing without Dogana. And Dogana, we are there because of the Dow Days.
prefer?
That's we cherish. So the only difference is that obviously Dogana is an official uh, regulated. We have a constitution, we have office bearer, they have their responsibilities, so they do the right thing. And obviously certain things personally they cannot do, which obviously you have to abide by the constitution of Dogana, and then you do the proper thing. You as an office bearer, you're Nurani president, and then Danish, executive director, they do their jobs because they follow and they want to really make sure that Dogana stays on track to do, like, tremendous good things. the Tao days is a creative aspect of your your passion about Dogana. I mean, Haji Karim, as you know, he runs many other forums, is because he has a creative nature. He like to communicate. He's an interactive guy. And then with him, and then my passion about technology, and then web based and art. And then I used to be a poster creator and a banner creator in DAO. So it's like a remnant of that that I would like to have, share those things. So that, and then many people are doing many other things. Suhail Ansari is really running a good DAO list because he has a passion about it. Dr. Rahman Khan, then there are so many, Umar Darat, all of them, they're doing on a individual capacity. In the end, they all promote whatever we learned from Dow days, to be very honest.
Beautiful. All right, last one. And this is advice for Dogana Diaries. This is the forum that we're on right now.
Oh, I see. Okay. No, I think that this is definitely a very good step. You should obviously, I'm sure you already thought about it, that invite some more qualified people, and if you find more senior people, that would be always a good. So it would be like a few track. You can have a a past presidents or executive or whatnot, so that they can reflect on what they've done or contributed, and then Dawite in their academia, so they can share their journey, how they got to be like one of the stellar careers they have created here in US and even in England. So basically, you're on the right track, and then it would be very important to find a balance and don't shy away with politics. Nothing wrong with that. It's a part of our DAO. But then obviously it's going to be a, a, a editorial control from Dogana. Obviously, it's not like a personal thing. So I think you should be able to promote a nice picture and people will like it.
I hope so. We continue doing so. We have a whole lineup set up with different hosts and different guests coming up for every single month of the year. So we're really looking forward to it. It brings out our creativity as well and makes us also passionate about our alma mater as well. All right, so now we're going to come to the third segment of the Ghana Diaries, and this is called Addressing the Elephant in the Room. And in this segment, we ask a difficult, insightful question from our guests. And today's question is something that had been brewing on a lot of people's minds, especially with the recent years. And I want you to give us a practical answer for us. How do we manage ageism in real life, especially in the workplace and real day-to-day things, as well as within Dogana also, or dealing with other colleagues that we have?
Yeah, I think it's a very important question. I've been thinking about it. Obviously, I'm 66, and we had a lot of discussion ranging from real ailment, that's one thing, difficulties, physical, mental, but then also retirement, when to retire, when not to retire, satisfaction, involvement. I'm sure the generic answer is that in order to avoid uh, 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 or succumb to aging, or a concept of going down the spiral on a negative way, is to become inactive, socially not connected, and then that would be the disaster. That is what people would like a person to avoid. which is no brainer. Everyone knows it, that more socially active or interactive you are, the chances are that you will not feel aged or under the age influence of age. So that's one thing. But I have a slight different uh, concept in terms of retirement. I have been talking to my friends, obviously a couple of them have retired and a couple of them are thinking about it. And then I say to them, absolutely not. Why would you retire at a time, like I'm a cardiologist. I've been cardiologist for 30 years. Now, the medicine is the only thing that come with age. The practice that we have been, I remember when I was the first a year attending after fellowship in cardiology. Yes, I knew all these studies and all that, but I have zero database of the patient that I have cared for. So I would just go by and hoping that my recommendation would be fine. Obviously, I'm not careless, so I will take care of it. And that's what we have done all through our first year attending, second attending practice, and all that. But 30 years later, it's a total different thing. I feel so happy the knowledge that I have accumulated. This is the time that I'm enjoying my practice. The
Right.
patient walks into the room. In a matter of 5 minutes, I know exactly what's going on. Obviously,
Experience.
I'm not say that I'm not going to do any tests and I'm just going to put hand and I say the diagnosis. No, what I'm trying to say that so much information we have gathered that we are so confident that we know that I can help this patient right away with my expertise. Yes, anyone can read the books, and the young attending can, quote many things, but it is not the same. So
Right.
that's one thing. And then same thing, the interaction I get from the patient. When I
Mhm.
was a young attending, I could see that yes, I'm giving a recommendation, but there is some hesitancy to accept it because I'm a young doctor. And then a 72-year-old, he's looking at me, and then obviously he's going to follow because I'm a cardiologist. But now it's completely opposite. The moment I say a thing, they immediately accept it because
Right.
they feel that, oh, this is experienced seasoned doctor that I'm talking to. They ask questions, but since
Mhm.
our experience is so much that I'm able to explain in such a authoritative or at least confident that they would just love it, and that's the end of the 45 minutes. They will just stand up and
Right.
shake hand and say, oh, thank you so much, we came. The reason is because right now I feel more and more that, so why would I retire with all my
Uh-huh.
knowledge and then
Right.
sitting home and doing nothing? Yes, if you have travel
Absolutely.
plans, how much you can travel, right? The
And
only thing.
in neurology, we see that all the time. People are living longer and longer with the
Right.
better healthcare. And those that I do see do retire, say at the age of around 70 or so, their decline is very, very dramatic. But a
Right.
little switch of ageism also is just like with misogyny, etc. Some people undermine your intellect or your computer savvy skills like you have, or people don't know how advanced with AI you are and how much you've done for nowadays. So a lot of people make assumptions with the age as well, which I think is wrong, and we need to have people realize that age is just a number. We need to not think of this senior junior thing and kind of bind together and go on and do something positive, because each person from each generation has something positive to contribute.
No, absolutely right. And in fact, you just pointed out, it just happened last week. There was a patient, uh, and you're absolutely right, because when they look at me, oh, I'm a 65, you must be a 65-year-old cardiologist. So she was, I think, 47 or something. She had some problem, but these days they do research and all that. And I think I always compliment them. Uh, I don't denigrate, or I don't put down their effort, even if they are on a wrong track. Then once I validate that you did the right thing, but this is how, and then I can put them in direction. So this lady, she had some unusual symptoms, and then she obviously explored, and then she was talking about different AI models. I know I've been working a lot, so I was full vocabulary. I said yes, perplexity, and then there were some, Google AI Studio, and then there are some other Grok models that you can explore. And and then there were a couple of things that I went in more detail because I have studied it. So she was shocked. She
Mhm.
definitely, actually, she was such, no, obviously she was happy that she was able to communicate. So you're right. You have to, if you want to be relevant, you have to update and do things. And it just so happened that this is my area that I like it. I used to do database programming also when I was doing a fellowship. So it is easier for me, but it is not difficult for many other people. So she got up, and the next day she wrote a letter to the department that I was so much impressed with that I'm in a VA hospital. So most of
Uh-huh.
the time they think, oh, VA doctor, they don't know much. But she was like obviously comfortable, uh, even though it was 65-year-old or 66-year-old cardiologist. So she was happy. So what I'm saying in an aging, yes, you're right, relevant.
Relevant, yes.
It is not going to be only how much studies that you have read. It is going to be what tools really you know about, because patient will keep coming, right? And
Right.
like I said, many people say, oh, AI will replace doctors. Absolutely not.
Mhm.
The AI will replace doctors who do not use AI with the doctors who use AI.
Right.
So that
Right.
is the thing. And then,
Yes.
that's one important
AI
advice
is just a tool. AI
is
is
the
just
tool,
a
and
tool.
if you
We
use
still
it,
need
it is
our
your
input.
advantage. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Beautiful. All right. So final segment then. We will fourth and final segment of Dogana Diaries. This is Alvidai Pegam, or a message for all of us in the future.
All right. So, I'm first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I don't feel worthy of that, but obviously, it is Dogana and Dawite, the love of Dawite and Daw alumni that everyone we share. So, I would say that I would be happy to contribute as much as I can, and along with what information I have for the young generation. And then I think you guys are doing a wonderful job. And just my advice you to just don't be discouraged by negative remarks. It will happen. It
Mhm.
is in you know the good thing about the Dow days that we are doing it is because we are not accountable to, in a way, it's an official. But when you are in a Dogana and working for Dogana, it's official thing. So you're doing selfless. No one is giving you any compensation. It is just the love of Tao. So after spending so much time and all that, don't expect that every single one will say, wow, 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 wow. There would be some
Sure.
people, they will do nitpicking, but that's part of it. So do not ignore it, but at the same time, don't get disturbed about it.
Right.
It's like,
There's
in a way, it's
always
like a
room for improvement.
right. It's a thankless job that especially the Dogana officials are doing,
Yeah.
but should not be deterred by. The real theme is that, am I doing it for thou and my alumni? Then you'll be fine. You will have no problem at all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karatara. You have
Thank
been
you.
absolutely fabulous. We have enjoyed,
Okay.
especially me, I have really enjoyed reading up about Dao history, reading up about how the exams were in those days, and then also getting to know from you mainly the Ghana history, who were the first inceptors for it, and what
Mhm.
the initial thought processes were to make this foundation. And with that, we will end our first episode of Dogana Diaries, your digital platform for all things related to Dogana. For the audience, we have divided these sections into 4 sections: Purani Yaadein, Garam Garam Rapid Fire, Elephant in the Room, and Alvida Program. Please, all of you, tell us if there's any other type of questions that you want us to ask from our next guests who are going to be coming up. And with that, we will take leave. Next month, we will return with a new host, a new guest, and a new cup of tea. Thank you so much. Until then, Alvida. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.